Welcome to today's scary story session. These stories are not for the faint of heart, so be prepared to be scared out of your wits. If you enjoy being scared and want to hear more stories like these, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss a scary story session. Let's get started. The anticipation had been building for weeks. A long-awaited camping trip was finally upon us, and I, Jason, couldn't have been more excited. My group of friends and I had planned to spend a few days in the remote wilderness, far away from the noise and chaos of the city. It was supposed to be an adventure, a chance to reconnect with nature and each other. Little did we know just how terrifying our adventure would become. As we drove deeper into the forest, the towering trees seemed to lean in, their branches forming a shadowy canopy overhead. The dense foliage created an almost impenetrable wall of green, and the air was thick with the scent of pine and damp earth. We were truly alone in the wilderness, and the isolation was both exhilarating and intimidating. The weather had taken a turn for the worse. Dark, ominous clouds hung low in the sky, threatening rain. The wind howled through the trees, making them creak and groan in protest. It was as if the very forest itself was warning us to turn back. Despite the weather, we pressed on, determined to make the most of our adventure. Setting up camp near a pristine lake, we felt a sense of accomplishment as we gathered around the crackling campfire, its warm glow pushing back the encroaching darkness. As we sat there, sharing stories and laughter, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching us from the shadows of the forest. Every rustling leaf and snapping twig sent a chill down my spine, and I noticed my friends exchanging nervous glances. The wind picked up, and the once clear sky became a swirling mass of gray. Rain began to fall in heavy sheets, extinguishing our campfire with a hiss. We scrambled to take cover in our tents, the sound of raindrops pelting the fabric like a relentless drumbeat. Inside my tent, I tried to shake off my unease, chalking it up to the wild imagination that often came with being in unfamiliar territory. But as I lay there, the rain intensified, and the forest seemed to come alive with strange, unsettling sounds. I heard footsteps, slow, deliberate, and just beyond the edge of our campsite. My heart raced as I strained my ears to listen. The footsteps drew closer, their rhythm unnatural and deliberate, as if they belonged to something not quite human. I unzipped the tent and peered outside, my breath catching in my throat. Through the curtain of rain, I saw a figure, hunched and shambling, its silhouette barely visible in the gloom. It moved with an eerie, almost spectral grace, disappearing into the forest as quickly as it had come. I called out to my friends, but their voices were drowned out by the pounding rain. Panicked, I fumbled for my flashlight and followed the trail of the mysterious figure into the woods. The rain-slicked ground made each step treacherous, and the forest seemed to close in around me, the trees reaching out with gnarled branches like skeletal fingers. I stumbled upon a clearing, and there, in the eerie half-light, I saw it. The figure stood before me, its form shifting and contorting as if it were made of shadows. Its eyes, gleaming with an unnatural light, locked onto mine, and a chilling scream pierced the air. Terrified, I turned and ran, my heart pounding in my chest. The forest seemed to conspire against me, the very trees and underbrush reaching out to ensnare me in their grasp. I pushed forward, driven by a primal fear that refused to let go. Eventually, I burst into our campsite, gasping for breath and drenched from head to toe. My friends were there, their faces pale with terror as they recounted their own encounters with the malevolent presence in the woods. We didn't waste a second. We packed up our camp in record time and fled the forest, the relentless rain and pounding footsteps echoing in our ears. As we drove away, I couldn't shake the feeling that we had narrowly escaped something unspeakable, something that had no place in the world of the living. To this day, I'm haunted by the memory of that camping trip, the sense of isolation, and the unshakable fear that we were not alone in the wilderness. And as the rain continues to fall outside my window, I can't help but wonder if that malevolent presence still lingers in those dark woods, waiting for its next unsuspecting victim. Adventure beckoned us with the promise of a remote mountain escape. Eager for a break from the city's hustle, we embarked on a romantic getaway to a quaint mountain town, where a cozy Airbnb awaited. Nestled among the towering pines, the cabin promised an idyllic retreat. Yet, little did we know that our dreamy refuge would soon transform into a bone-chilling nightmare. The Airbnb listing, hosted by a seemingly charming Sarah, had caught our attention like a rare gem amid the digital deluge. The photos showcased the rustic cabin's allure, nestled in the woods like a page from a fairy tale. Stellar reviews lauded Sarah's hospitality, weaving a tale of warmth and tranquility. We were smitten. Our arrival was met with the picture-perfect cabin we had admired online. But an unshakable feeling of unease settled upon us almost immediately. It was as if the mountains whispered secrets that the woods had long held. My rational side dismissed it as pre-trip jitters, but my instincts told me otherwise. The cabin's interior was cozy, illuminated by the roaring fireplace, and a delightful basket of fresh fruits welcomed us. A handwritten note from Sarah added a personal touch. Still, despite these warm gestures, an inexplicable silence hung in the air, broken only by a faint rustling, like clandestine voices conspiring just beyond our hearing. The first night passed without incident, but as the moon cast its silvery glow over the cabin, our serenity unraveled. It began with a haunting murmur, an eerie conversation barely audible. Alarmed, I confided in Mark, who dismissed it as the creaks and groans of an aging cabin. As the night deepened, my unease swelled. I awoke to find the room bathed in ghostly moonlight, Mark asleep beside me, blissfully unaware. But as I shifted to get up, my foot brushed against something cold and metallic. A sense of dread washed over me as I spotted a minuscule camera on the floor, its unblinking lens capturing our every move. A gasp tore through the silence, startling Mark awake. Together, we embarked on an exhaustive search of the cabin, peeling back the veneer of our supposed sanctuary. Hidden cameras were uncovered in every room, cleverly disguised as smoke detectors, concealed in corners, and even lurking behind a framed picture. Panic surged as we realized our most intimate moments had been violated by an unseen voyeur. Confronting Sarah yielded only her shock and apparent ignorance of the sinister surveillance. She promised to investigate, leaving us bewildered and vulnerable. We couldn't remain there. We fled the cabin, leaving behind the sense of being watched but carrying its haunting weight with us. We reported the incident to the authorities, but the identity of our voyeuristic host remained a chilling enigma. The memory of that Airbnb stay continues to haunt us, a stark reminder that even the most picturesque hideaways can harbor shadowy secrets. It's a disturbing testament to the fact that sometimes, the serenity of a mountain escape can conceal far more than it reveals, reminding us that not all the secrets of the woods are meant to be uncovered.